Killer on a White Horse, A Story of the Evening Watchman by Ned Dahan. The audiobook, made available on BlackBoxOnlineRadio. Please consider supporting this channel at BuyMeACoffee.com/BlackBoxNed88. There's a link in the description box. Chapter 33. Barry had a black backpack with 7 zipper compartments. It was filled with t-shirts and underwear, and a toothbrush. He didn't pack any other pairs of pants out of forgetfulness. He also didn't pack toothpaste, but he figured he would do something about that later. He removed the Diet Cokes from the fridge, though. That he would not forget. All he knew was that he wanted to drive. Barry didn't know if he was making the right choice. He felt so divided about Joanna. He knew that he wanted the chaos to end, but was removing Joanna the only way to remove the chaos? As Joanna had put it, Barry had been the one who had investigated the situation. He had actively put himself into the place that he was in now. Whether or not Joanna was the source of the newfound chaos in his life almost seemed moot at this stage. Barry did not want to leave her. They exited room 8703 and moved toward the red Mazda. Barry halfway expected to find the tires slashed. To his thankfulness, Manny Inman had done no such thing. Barry also considered checking out of the Birch Bark Motel and just leaving the stuff behind, but he had 2 weeks of rent paid up on it. He could make that decision in 2 weeks. Joanna and Barry entered into the small red Mazda convertible. Joanna's bandages caught the attention of people in the parking lot, but they continued. They even put the convertible top up so that the wind wouldn't be too harsh. It was hot, but once the car started moving, the breeze came through, and it cooled them down. "Which way are we going?" Joanna asked. "How does driving north sound?" Barry returned. "I don't know what that means," she started, "but it's fine. Let's just go somewhere." "I think we should make one stop," Barry proposed. "Let's go back to Megataler. I want to try and get another strawberry card." "No!" Joanna almost shouted. "Why not?" Barry inquired. "You heard Manny. He said he will kill you and get the $2,000. If you go back and get the strawberry card, you'll be doing what he wants. He might try something." They continued to converse as the car pulled out of the Birch Bark parking lot. "Well, what do we do for money?" Barry asked. "I just gave you $500, Joanna pointed out. "No, I gave you $500, Barry challenged her. "You just gave it back to me." "I don't want to fight," Joanna puffed. "Look, I have another 100 in my pocket. I was going to buy the bus ticket back to Philly if you didn't, well, if we weren't driving somewhere. That's 600. "Should I ask how you got this money?" Barry pressed. "I gave you a chocolate card, not cash." "Let's not talk about it now," she stated firmly. Barry always noticed as soon as he felt comfortable with Joanna, she had to say something to bring the discomfort back. "Don't you have anything in the bank?" Joanna questioned him. "About $70, Barry replied. "It's on my bank card. We can add to that, and that brings us to $670. "What do you do with all your money from the job?" she asked. "Didn't you work at the warehouse for 2 years? You must have spent it all on Diet Coke and iced coffee." "It wasn't a problem until someone put antihistamines in it," Barry shot back. Then once again Joanna began to sob. She buried her face in her hands yet again. She cried, and Barry was even surprised at how easily she would burst into tears. "Barry," she kept crying, I'm so ashamed." "Hey, Joe," he tried to console. Look, I forgive you for that, but..." It's everything," she said through the tears. "I messed up. I did so many stupid things. I did what they told me to do. I did everything they told me to do. And Barry, about what Manny said back there about what I did with him and Golly..." "Now it's my turn to say, let's not talk about it now," Barry demanded. "You must think I'm horrible," Joanna hyperventilated. Barry noticed her tears had stopped, and they had come from a place of embarrassment rather than sadness. Joanna was trapped in a destructive cycle. "I don't think you're horrible, Joe," said Barry. "I do," she kept breathing loudly. I'm sorry about the iced coffee thing." "I said I forgive you," Barry allowed. "No," she denied. "It was wrong. Manny just held a gun to me, to us. Trista stood there. They never cared about me. They never cared about Golly. Manny always liked Trista more than me. He knew her longer, but... I don't care what Manny Inman likes or dislikes, said Barry. They drove through a green light and headed down a street with a sign for Highway 81. Chapter 34. The car continued down the highway until Barry pulled over onto Halfway Boulevard at the edge of Hagerstown, Maryland. Moved into the right lane, and Barry eased the car into the parking lot of a shopping mall. Barry and Joe gazed upon a Starbucks, a liquor store, and a sign for a movie theater, but Barry wanted something else. Actually, I'd kill for a drink right now, Barry thought silently. However, there was another piece of business to attend to at the moment. Where were they going to stay for the night? Where are we going to stay tonight? Barry asked Joanna. How should I know? Joanna asked back. The last place I was living in was a barn. Well, before I stayed at your motel room. We should decide before we drive any further, said Barry. Farther, Joanna replied. What? Barry questioned her. Farther is for physical distances, Joanna explained. Further is for more abstract things, like taking an idea further. Please don't do that, Barry demanded. Are you sure that's even true? No. I'm just saying, Joanna sighed. Are you sure you don't want me to drive you to Philly? Barry asked. Barry didn't know what to feel. Part of him felt embarrassed, and part of him wanted to throw Joanna out of the red Mazda. Then his phone started to ring. Of course the name Warren Jones was shown clearly on the display screen. It's 5:30, Barry said. Warren really calls you every day, huh? Joanna inquired. Yeah, Barry confirmed. Hello? He placed Warren on speakerphone so that Joanna could hear too. Hello to you too, Warren continued. Hey, how's it going? Barry began to think. First he had learned that he had lost his job. Then he had witnessed Rick Carter being murdered. Next, Manny Inman had pulled a gun on him and threatened his life. Now he was roaming the roads with Joanna Skite, a girl who liked to correct his grammar, and he only had $670. Could be better, could be worse, he decided. Joanna's here too. Hi, Warren, she chimed. Yellow to you too, Joanna, Warren went on. Look, Barry, I know I said it once in a text message. I mean, like, after you sent me that first text, but sorry about your job. I mean, it's crazy about all that stuff happening. Are you sure it's safe in Williamsport? We are on the run, Joanna continued. What? Warren shot back. I didn't mean that unsafe like that. I mean, what do you mean on the run? We decided not to stay in my room tonight, Barry revealed. What's going on, Barry? Warren asked. Did something else happen? Barry felt tempted to tell Warren about Rick Carter, but for some reason he could not. Instead, he could talk about Manny Inman. That guy, Inman, he came by the birch bark, Barry shared. He had a gun on him. He threatened us. Inman, Warren restated. He's your friend, right, Joanna? Doesn't look like it now, she grumbled. He pulled a gun on you? Warren asked. Yeah, Barry concurred. Well, did you call the police? Warren asked. No, we didn't. What? Warren sounded shocked. You mean, you called the police because Manny Inman walked on the warehouse property, but you didn't call the police when he pointed a gun at you? Look, Barry, you're the watchman. You know illegal when it happens. I can't tell you what to do, my friend, but it sounds like you got your priorities all out of whack. It might make things worse, Barry considered. Barry, Warren began. How many times have you called 911 since you've been at the warehouse? I mean, since the warehouse had the job. I mean, before you got fired. I mean, before the job stopped. Whatever. You called them so many times. Even from the birch bark to tell the ambulance where to find Joanna, Barry thought silently. That's some dangerous stuff, Warren elaborated. I'm just saying, I mean, I would call if that happened to me. Hey, Warren, where do you live? Joanna asked abruptly. Southeast D.C., why? He asked. Maybe we can stay with you tonight, Joanna suggested. No, out of the question, Barry cut in. We can't stay there. The whole point of going on the run is to get away from anyone that might hurt us. What if someone like Manny follows us? Then Warren could get caught up in this mess. Joanna's face almost turned red. So, didn't you just say you would drive me to Philly? She erupted. You don't want to risk your friend? But you would risk my parents? I was being sarcastic, Barry admitted. I was mad because you were correcting my grammar. So you can't handle being wrong? Joanna shrieked. Then you just send me and all the trouble back to Philadelphia. One small moment of discomfort, and you want to quit. I'm not listening to this lover's quarrel, Warren interjected. Barry, you can call me when you two are done fighting. Warren, wait! Barry almost shouted. What is it? Warren asked. Rick Carter, said Barry. The White Horse Killer is named Rick Carter. I mean, no, that's not his name. Rick Carter said he was the White Horse Killer. You can find him if you search online. Rick Carter in Williamsport, Maryland. Hey, Warren tried to say. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, said Barry. Keep in touch. Barry disconnected the call, as Warren had requested. He thought it was quite odd that both Warren and Inman had used the term lover's quarrel to describe him and Joanna. Are you sure that Rick Carter was the White Horse Killer? Joanna changed the subject. I'm not sure of anything, Barry muttered. They're right, though. You're right, too. Joanna's eyes grew rather wide. About what? She asked. I'm out of whack, Barry understood. I called the police on Manny for walking onto the warehouse lot, but not for threatening us. I accused Manny of shooting Rick Carter, but I knew he wouldn't shoot us. I've been wrong a lot lately. What about bringing the trouble to my parents? Joanna asked. You don't want to bring trouble to Warren, but to my mom and dad? It is okay? I said I was being sarcastic about that, Barry explained again. I didn't mean it, but it shows how muddled my thinking is. Barry, you're fine, said Joanna. Then she laughed a little. What's so funny? He asked. I'm the one with stitches in my arm and a bandage wrapped around my head, she started, and you think you're the one who's messed up? I'm the one who hasn't spoken to my parents in almost a year. I'm the one who found Manny and Trista in the first place. Satanic network, Trista, and pull a gun on your family, Manny. I told Trista she was like my sister, and did you see how she looked? She was stone cold. You think your thinking is muddled? I am the mess. Maybe we're both a little messed up, said Barry. He then reached for Joanna's hand. She accepted. Then they shared a smile and leaned in for a kiss. Where do we stay tonight, Joe? Barry asked. I know a motel. I know of a motel that's up near the Pennsylvania line. It's only about a 10-minute drive. Another motel? She asked. We just left one. I want to go camping. Camping? Barry asked. We don't have a tent. We could get one, she proposed. We only have $670, Barry argued. Okay, fine, she conceded. But I want to stay in the forest. There must be forests near here. Maybe if we drive west, Barry contributed. Then let's drive, Barry Albert, Joanna grinned. Barry felt content with Joanna, but he also felt the dark side as well. He had strong feelings for Joanna, and he started the car, but he didn't fully trust her yet. He knew that she could betray him like she had done before. He knew that trouble hadn't entered his life until he had met her. Blaze had approached him with the strawberry card scheme, and he had said no, with the exception of taking the $500 payout. However, whenever Joanna wanted something, Barry found it more difficult to resist. He definitely liked her, and he wanted to trust her. Even though she was covered in bandages, he still found her beautiful, almost like a ball of energy that would fall apart unless someone else took care of her. Spending time with Joanna was addictive. It had become an addiction that Barry felt he would not shake any time soon. In the short time that he had known her, he had wanted her to leave so many times, but somehow she just kept coming back, and he couldn't resist. Barry liked her indeed. However, when she called him Barry Albert, it was almost as if he heard Manny Inman's voice. He knew it sounded like Joanna, but Barry also knew that he had not seen the last of Manny Inman and Trista Richards. Chapter 35. The night began to fall since the plan to drive to the motel 10 minutes away had been scrapped. They just moved onward. The day in the car began to filter out the negative emotions, and Barry once again found himself growing rather fond of Joanna. There was no specific destination planned. They just drove into the hills of Pennsylvania, first toward a town called Lebanon, next through the winding roads of a place called Jonestown. Barry couldn't help but think of the famous massacre by the same name. "Do we know where we are staying yet?" Joanna asked Barry. "Nope," he declined. Barry pressed his hands on the steering wheel as they navigated the turns in the road. "It's starting to get dark," Joanna noticed. "You said you wanted to go camping," Barry began. "This is the next best thing." "Have you ever been here before?" she asked him. "Jonestown?" he asked. "No, I haven't. I've been to Lebanon before, just driving around, and we stopped in the town for lunch." "Who's we?" Joanna asked. Someone named Blaze and I," Barry answered. Is she that girl from Haiti you mentioned?" "Yeah." Just then the light on Barry's Kia Seraphone began to glow. There wasn't a single other car on the road, so he moved the red Mazda over onto the shoulder, and he saw the name Ross Barrister calling, so he did not hesitate. Barry turned the key in the ignition so the car would shut off, and he answered the call. "Hi, Ross," said Barry. Barry put the phone on speaker so Joanna could hear too. "No yellow?" Joanna teased. Barry shot her a pleasant look. He was in a good mood, and he didn't want to ruin it, but he still felt that Joanna was mocking him. "Hi, Barry," Ross spoke over the phone. "Look, I've been talking with the company all day, and it's been hectic, and it's been 8 p.m., and I'm still in the office, and they've been barking like hounds, and we've just got so much to sort out. It's all liabilities and insurance companies, and they just got to make things hectic, and there's just a bunch of unorganized mutts running this operation up from the top, and anyway, the company has had a change of heart." "A change of heart?" Barry asked. "About what?" "About the job, of course," he shot back. "They just said that they were wrong to put the security team on hiatus. The fire occurred when no guard was present, so they need you guys back. The fire only destroyed some boxes. The warehouse is in good shape, and they wanted you guys to come back, and I called Tim and Carl, the two weekenders, and they both already, they turned it down. I mean, I guess they got something else going on, and I know it's a simple job, but they seem to, want to do other things. They didn't seem too fond of it, but what do you say? You're like a full-timer. You're there more than they are. Do you want your job back? It would start Monday, just like before." Barry felt rather cold. Life before had been ordinary. It had been dull at times, but it sure hadn't involved anything like witnessing murders, or having guns drawn on him by Emanuel Inman. "Oh," Barry replied. He looked toward Joanna. She stared blankly. "Do it," she mouthed silently. Barry thought as quickly as he could. If he took the job back, they might be in danger. In fact, there was a high chance he would run into Manny Inman again. Barry wasn't sure why, but he was almost certain Manny Inman wouldn't try to hurt him. He felt that Manny's game was more about mind power and manipulation, rather than physical force. Supposedly, Barry and Joe had gone on the run because it wasn't safe for them in Williamsport. Would 4 more days be enough to let the situation cool down? "I'll be there Monday," said Barry. "4 to midnight?" "Yeah, thank God," Ross went on. "I called Todd first, and he's also on board. I mean, we still got to do something about these weekenders, find 2 new weekenders, but I just don't know. You and Todd would be more difficult to replace, and I hope it works out, but there are going to be some more duties for now. They have some boxes in the warehouse that they're still trying to sort out during the beginning of the shift, and you might have to do some cleanup. What do you say about that?" "It's fine," Barry agreed. "Monday at 4. "Hey, Barry, do you know anyone who would want a weekend job? It's really simple," Ross inquired. "I can do it," Joanna chimed in. Hello, who's there?" Ross asked. "I'm Joanna," she answered. Barry felt chills run down his spine, and he wasn't sure why. "Barry, is she with you? Or are you on speakerphone?" Yeah, we are," Barry answered. Hi, Joanna, is it?" Ross asked. "My name is Ross Barrister. I'm a very supervisor at the job agency, and we would have to get you well all set up, and you're not in our temp agency system, and perhaps it's better to get somebody who's already registered. But Barry, 4 p.m. at the Williams Pike warehouse. I'll see you Monday to go over the new rules." Ross disconnected the call without saying goodbye. "That is the first time I've ever heard Ross Barrister go quiet so fast," Barry remarked. Joanna did not take kindly to the situation. She slammed her hands on the dashboard of the car, then folded them across her body. "Do you believe that crap?" she shouted. What's going on? Barry asked. You heard him. It's because I'm a woman, she kept shouting. He thinks a woman can't be a watchman, or a security guard, Watchman, Barry insisted. Oh, right, no watch women, Joanna rambled. Jesus Christ, he thinks I can't handle sitting in a car from 8 to 4 p.m. I bet no woman has ever done that job since you've been there. Well, that's true. That's because this Ross guy is a sexist, Joanna sneered. Ross the boss. Oh, wait, that actually is kind of funny. Anyway, this guy Ross is full of it. Maybe he was telling the truth about the system, Barry pointed out. Perhaps they want someone who has already been... Why are you taking his side? Joanna defensed. Do you really believe that horse crap? That guy didn't want me working there because I'm a woman. He thinks it's too dangerous for women to sit in a car outside. Joanna, we left Williamsport because it is dangerous, Barry added. Joanna sighed. I don't want it to be that way, she said. I told you I want to have a job at the store down the street. We have your place to live in. I just want to stay there. If we just stay here until Sunday, perhaps Manny and Trista will even leave town. Who knows what they're up to? I'm sorry, Barry, I just got mixed up with the wrong people. The wrong kind of two-faced, self-serving, backstabbing people. Well, they're gone now, Barry mentioned. And you've been truthful with me, Joe. Joanna looked at the floor of the car. What? Barry demanded. Joanna had something to say, but she was debating on whether or not to say it. Joanna, what is it? I'm sorry, Barry, she muttered. What the hell next? Barry thought silently. I didn't talk to the police, she said. I didn't talk to the newspapers. Like, about Golly's innocence. When I had your phone at the warehouse that day, the one time I went to work with you, I didn't call them. I also didn't say anything in the police station. I just sat there for 4 or 5 minutes and left. Barry grabbed the steering wheel. Why? He questioned. I thought we were learning about this White Horse Killer stuff, she went on. I thought I could solve the case. I thought that I was going to break the code, and I thought that if I should say something before the police got involved, I was so close to solving that code. Barry remembered the late Rick Carter, and he had said something. She was wrong. I just thought that I could do it, she continued. I thought we could do it, even Warren. If I had a perfect answer, I could come forward then. But how do you feel about leaving your friend Golly in jail for all this time? Barry pondered. What is up? Maybe he could get out if he didn't actually murder anyone. I expect he will soon, she stated. Why is that? Barry asked. You said they left a W on the car when Rick Carter was murdered, yes? Joanna reminded him. Right, Barry begged for more. So, sooner or later, they will connect it to someone other than Golly, she went on. Plus, we don't know if they'd listen to me anyway. We don't know if they would have cared what I had to say. Golly is strong, but it is almost like he wants to be in prison. It's weird. He should have had someone like a lawyer or somebody prove that he wasn't there at the time of the killings. Weird indeed, Barry said. Why wouldn't he just feed that information to his lawyer? Then he clearly had an alibi. Weird indeed. So, where do we spend the night? Joanna changed the subject. Barry felt the warmth from Joanna fade from his heart. He didn't show it, but a new form of curiosity came over him. He now wanted to know why she would so easily toss her friend aside. Was there even more to Joanna? We'll drive until we find out, said Barry. Barry kept Joanna close in his peripheral vision, but he knew that he was watching her like a hawk in a different way.